Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday. It's time for the monthly check-in on whether or not the leading crypto is still leading. A lot of data to get through today. And there's a lot of news coming out too, as well as some very interesting things happening in TradFi behind the scenes. But we'll look at all the metrics and see how things compare. And is there a new Solana killer out there as well? We'll look into that too. And there's been a lot of change going on over the past, let's say, 2 or 3 months with ETH and ETH ETF money flows. We'll see if they have continued. And I'm also including the Solana Treasuries into this video too. ETF flows, so much stuff has happened. Last time I did a Solana update, by the way, there was no Solana ETF. That's how fast things were. Sir Dragon, Anglo Blackson, TND Tesla, Chippy, K8, Sean D, thank you all for coming. Let's get into the story. This is called Insane Summer, everybody. It has been insane. It's been very hot as well. So, let me see. What am I doing? What am I doing? Click, click. Where's my clicker? Something's weird. Anyway, not financial advice. And a thank you to everybody on Patreon. This is from, cool name, Oxonian Abroad. I like that. Joining Patreon was one of the best decisions of my life. Woohoo. Thank you for being part of the group. And we need to start preparing as well. We've had a very good 3 years, but what comes next will be very interesting. So stay humble. Let's get into Solana news. First of all, there's a couple of things that are happening behind the scenes that are very important to address, and you would have probably missed them, but this is quite an important letter. This is from Matt Hogan. And he talks about the fact that he wrote as so-called CIO member, who's a chief investment officer of Bitwise. They are crypto native, born out of the gate. But Matt was caught off guard by Paul Atkins, Project Crypto. Basically, he was like, wow, hold on a second. We have a lot of price prediction models out there, and we weren't quite aware of how bullish Paul Atkins was on the crypto space coming from the SEC after what an antagonist the SEC was in the past under that Gensler doofus. Anywho, the key part of this, all you need to know is this is not priced into assets like Ethereum, Solana, Uniswap, and other assets. He was shocked. Okay, now he's going to go back to the drawing board. And also is extremely grateful for the new friendly SEC that we have in the US, which also, although SEC is US specific, it impacts everybody because sometimes other nations follow the US too. Now, let's talk about a lot of time on the computer. I can tell because my eyes are red. Too much screen time. Don't do that at home, kids. Let's look at, if a lot of people say, if you want to make money in crypto, go build on a chain that generates a lot of money to be a founder. If you want to build a crypto project, you build on Solana. This is the report for July. We just closed the month. And Solana dApps, decentralized applications, generated $164 million in revenue. And that's up a crazy 50% over last month. And by the way, this thing has just been on fire since about the middle of 2024. It just continues to go up, up, up. And normally summers are slow. Not this time. Let's look at some cool information as well. Shout out to DeFi Development Corporation. They put together these nice little charts. And in full disclosure, I do have a little DeFi dev position as well. They're one of the treasuries. But when you look at Solana revenue by chain, you can see, yes, we're still on top, 87.03 million for the chain. Remember, the dApps make a lot more than the chain now, which is kind of incredible. But that's what you want. You don't want, I always go back to my shopping center or shopping mall analogy. You don't want the owner of the mall to make all the money. You want the stores in the mall to be very diversified and very profitable too. So remember that too when you look at a chain. But number 2 is Tron, which runs all of the tethered transactions. And number 3 is Ethereum, 55 million, Solana, 87 million. Bitcoin, 16.4 million. Polygon, 280,000. Woohoo. Optimism, 300,000. Someone was asking me yesterday, what's happening to Aptos and Optimism and everything else? 348K for Optimus, and Avalanche, 600,000. Basically, one chain rules them all. And that's just how it works. Base did go down, I think, yesterday, but a lot of talk about Base 2 being the new launch pad for crypto. We'll get into that as well. This is 35 slides of all things crypto, but the key is always to identify the winner and stay on the winner. And if you are not in the winner, get into the winner. Or if you're in the winner and something's coming up fast behind, hedge yourself. Very important. That was always the play. Now, transactions by chain. Solana now does 82% of all transactions, everybody. 82%. That's more than 4 times all the other blockchains combined. Bonkers. 3.53 billion transactions on Solana. Base, 276 million. Ethereum, where is Ethereum? 46 million. It's not even crazy. Cardano, 928,000. That's in the month of July. It's getting a bit crazy right now. But there is something coming up fast from behind, which isn't a pure L1 per se, but they are making money. And I did cover last time, Hyperliquid is now running liquidity on Solana. And you can now, they are opening themselves up to the Phantom wallet to make Hyperliquid easier to use for other people. And that's actually helped Hyperliquid. It also helps the Solana blockchain too. That's why we love it when cross-chain stuff happens. But what did happen too? Solana was on top of the throne for making money and blockchain revenue for 10 months in a row until July. Guess what? Hyperliquid took the prize, now has the crown. And again, Hyperliquid are making a ton of money. So watch them carefully. They're not a true L1 with all the breadth of dApps and everything else, but boy, are they successful. Now, we'll take us to the next story, which, shout out to Tom Lee. Tom thinks Ethereum is the trade for the next decade. I think Ethereum is having its 2017 moment now. I do think it's the biggest macro trade for the next decade. You know, I would pay probably $1 million to see what data he is looking at, and I'd love to compare it. So, Tom, if you're watching, we went to the same business school. Warden, shout out to Warden. And we could have a little face-off together. That'd be fantastic. But I don't get it. And again, I invest based on data, not on what's hot or what traditional finance is doing, but basically data. Let's look at one other chart here. Solana has 26.4 times the number of ETH users. It's not 2 times. It's not 6 times. It's 26.4 times the number of users. 103.04 million on Solana. Ethereum has 3.93 million. It's not even a fair game at this stage. But why? Why is Solana trading at 22% of the ETH market cap? This is what I don't understand. And I'm not coping because crypto has been irrational from as long as I've been in it, so I don't mind that. And sometimes eventually the cream will float to the top. But what really bothers me is because of this. This is a fundamental principle by which you value things like Facebook and other telco companies, you name it. But this is Metcalfe's law. Metcalfe's law states that the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of connected users. In simple terms, the more users, the more value the network has. Very, very simple. Let's go back again for a second. Solana has 26.4 times the number of users that Ethereum has. And even if you include all the layer 2s, etc., it still destroys the whole combination. And it still trades at 1/5 of the market cap of Ethereum. Something has got to give at some stage, and I just don't know when that is. But it's been frustrating where data is, as the markets can be irrational longer than you can remain solvent. But anyway, moving on. There is some very good things happening, apart from the not priced in from Matt Haugen at the beginning. This one is big. We have a big, big IPO next week. It's called Bullish. Peter Thiel is a legend VC, Silicon Valley guy. Love him or hate him, he knows what's up. He also knows Bitcoin. He also knows crypto. And they are coming out with a new IPO called Bullish. They run a few $1 billion in trading volume, and they have figured out that they want to run some type of new liquidity capability, and they will use, of course, digital assets, and they have adopted the product that they are launching to work on Solana. They have collaborated with the Solana Foundation, and they intend to prioritize using stablecoins issued on Solana network as a primary stablecoin backing AMMI, okay? Not just Circle. Circle's doing all their minting now on Solana as well, but Bullish will be too. And if Peter Thiel is behind it, you know it's big. Peter Thiel is also connected to the US government behind the scenes. You know, he knows who the players are. He knows David Sachs and, you know, Breeders' president. I think as well, the vice president used to work for Peter Thiel, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'm right, but it's been a long day. Anyway, moving on. Watch for that IPO next week. I'll be watching for it myself. An IPO has been on fire this year. Marinade has the highest APYs and fast and fair. So I'm not one who kind of yield farms or anything like that. But if you are out there, you want to get over 10% on your crypto, that's an option. But we'll see where it all goes. Now, there's other interesting on-chain stuff happening with altcoins. And we don't know exactly this from Crypto Quant, but a ton of alts have been deposited onto Binance. Okay, within the last 7 days, the transaction count is over 45,000. And that's the highest level since late 2024. We know what happened late 2024. We had a mini altcoin run triggered by, again, US politics. You can't make this stuff up. But the question is, what does this mean? Does this mean you could say, oh, well, when crypto goes to exchanges, it's so people can dump it? Or it could reflect a renewed interest in altcoins after a period of stagnation for trading. Or it could mean some investors are rotating from their altcoin or from Bitcoin into altcoins, hoping for a catch-up move. Either, we're not sure if there's going to be a trend reversal or a bullish rotation, but either way, it's important to keep an eye on. It's good. On-chain activity is good. A lull, not so good. And for this to happen in August is also pretty impressive. And then also, I always say risk happens fast, but now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, HumidFi. Sounds like humidifier. Obviously, humidity, it's cute. They are now the new dominant AMM out of nowhere. SolFi, number 2, ZeroFi, number 3, etc. This is crazy. The Lafinities and others were dominant, the Radiums, etc., and they've all just been kind of squished down, but that's in AMM world. We also, a chart of this is HumidFi here. Spelt it wrong. I forgot the I. Now, it does 33%, 33.3% of all DEX volume as well, which is bonkers to even think about. And ORCA is now killing it as well in Bitcoin volume by DEX, not SOL stablecoin volume by DEX, but Bitcoin volume by DEX. There's so much stuff happening on chain with Solana. You have to look at unique perspectives of what exactly what pair is being traded, where and how, whether it's using a DEX or an AMM, etc. But it's good to see ORCA up there as well. Radium used to be top here. Now Radium's fallen to 4.24%. But the point is, the good news is here, a lot of Bitcoin trading is happening on Solana, which is great. Again, cross-chain is cool. And Depin continues to boom. Some of the big names, the 30-day changes. Render is back, up 10.6%. Helium up 17.8% in terms of market cap. Hive Mapper, 7.53%. And Helium Mobile, 23.7%. And Aleph Cloud, no idea what that is, 26.2%. But Depin is still alive and well and rebounding too. And if things couldn't get even better, we have obviously a chain that has its roots in telco, Qualcomm, mobile communications, that have also built multiple cell phones. I think this is the 3rd or 4th edition of their phone. This is the Seeker. And they started global shipping of the Seeker smartphones today. 150,000 of these have been pre-ordered, if I'm not mistaken. And they're going to people in over 50 countries. And last time we had the Saga phone, which had over $2,000 in airdrops. And a lot of people know or are very excited that they're going to get way more than the $500 cost for this phone. But the phone itself is actually really good. And I'm surprised how good it is. I know the battery life for the Saga is not very good in the past from experience, but this battery life has been improved. It has a 32 megapixel camera, 5G support, 120 gig of storage, 8 gigs of RAM. It's got a very special processor that has built-in security and a seat vault power button with the fingerprint sensor. Now, I actually don't know how they do all of this for $500 when considering an iPhone is, $1,400, $1,500, at least the last one out of, but I need the big one because I need the bigger screen. Anyway, enjoy your Seeker when you get it. I'll get mine and I'll report on what comes with it too, because there could be some free money there for you all. Anyway, Jupiter, one of the cool platforms we like for perping and stuff. Jupiter launches a private beta for Jupiter Lend on Solana. That's launching today, and they are a DeFi aggregator, but they've rolled out this decentralized lending platform. They're starting small for initial waitlist users, and it'll come public real soon as well. But one of the things that might be a little bit scary is they will offer you can borrow up to 95% of the value of your crypto or collateral, which I think is too high. Considering the volatility of crypto, you're just going to get liquidated if you borrow 95% loan to value. It's too risky. So keep it under 50% or optimally under 25%. So be careful out there. And speaking of Jupiter as well, Jupiter is now the 7th largest validator on Solana. Again, out of nowhere. So they're doing so many different things now: borrowing, lending, perp trading, swapping, gas-free swapping. It's a pretty incredible platform. Now, another interesting thing too, real-world assets, tokenization of everything is now leading for equities on Solana. It's $90 million, more than all chains combined. See a little bit of a pattern here. And of course, the top asset traded is Tesla stock, with over 11,000 people trading Tesla. In fact, we had a ping from somebody today in the community, and they wanted to buy Circle. Circle was not available on X stocks, so you couldn't actually trade Circle. For some people, it's actually great because there are people all over the world that don't have, they're crypto native, but they'd never had a traditional stock brokerage account. So now they're trading stocks using crypto, which is awesome. And the reason we care about real world assets is it is a massive $250 billion opportunity. We've only just begun. I think it was McKinsey put this together, and they're saying this is going to be worth something. Tokenized assets will be worth 30.1 trillion by 2034. When you read all this stuff and you have a dominant chain that's already doing all the tokenization of equities around the world, and you hear from McKinsey it's going to 30.4 trillion in a mere 6 or 8 years, it makes you pretty excited. At least I get excited. I hope you guys do too. And top 10 protocols. Axiom is still top since last month when I did this. $10.2 million in 7-day revenue. PancakeSwap is number 2. Looks like PancakeSwap have gone cross-chain, so now they're working on Solana, and they're making a ton of money doing it too. And Jupiter, there it is, 5.9 million, number 3, etc. So that is where the money's coming from. Now, ton of talk about tokens, launch pads, and that Base is now dominating. Well, in July 2025, Base were out yesterday, a little bit of an outage, and Mert was joking. Base are copying everything that Solana do, including outages. So I have to laugh for that one. It's so funny. Inverse bra, whatever they call it. Hilarious. Anyway, Base, 857,000 launches in July versus Solana 1.76 million. So still not there yet, but catching up. And remember, everybody's coming for the winner. When you're on the throne, everybody's going to try and get to you. Now, another piece of fun news too that's interesting is TradFi are positioning themselves for Solana. This is as clear as day. When you look at the CME open interest volume, it exploded in the month of July. Notice all the July themes absolutely exploded. That means TradFi is getting ready for all the SOL ETFs. They want to be exposed before they launch. We're not sure when they're going to launch. Is it August, September? Probably September. The other 8 are going to come, and then all the money will flow after that. Now, we'll take a second for the first time ever in my Solana Monthly talk about the ETFs, because there's some interesting data here. First of all, the ETH ETF was completely on fire in the month of July. until August. Well, it slowed down the last 2 days in July. You could argue the last 3 of the last 4 days in July. But boy, beginning of August, it took a dump, dumping 152.3 million on the 1st of August and 465.1 million on the 4th of August, and a little bit of inflow attributable to BlackRock. Look at that, 888. Shout out to the Asians out there that like 8 as a good luck number. But here, they had a little bit of a inflow on the 5th of August yesterday. I don't know what's going to happen today. And yes, the SSK, the Rex Osprey, is a tiny ETF, but they've pulled in 137.4 million and 0 outflow days so far. So again, still very early days, still very small, but every little bit counts as we go forward. Remember, Solana is 22% of the market cap of Ethereum, okay? And 67% of all Solana is staked versus 29% for Ethereum. So if you come to wrestle some of this free, it's going to be hard. And we'll also talk about Solana Treasuries. A new one was launched today, but it looked like a complete zombie, so I won't even give it airtime. But these are the NAV premiums for the top 3 Solana Treasuries. UPXI still trading at a discount, and they added a large amount to their bag. They're now about 2.09 million Solana, trading at a NAV premium of 0.83, which means they're actually trading at a 17% discount to their bag. DFDV is 1.47, which is very close to the exact level of NAV premium for MicroStrategy. And CYFRD, it used to be CYFRF. This is HODL in Canada. Sol Strategies is 2.16 based in their bag. But remember, a big part of the Sol Strategies business is around validating. So with that, I'm going to finish on the meme of the day. This is shout out to Ivan, friend of the channel. Ivan is now talking about our favorite assets, Bitcoin, Tesla, and Solana as well. So shout out to Ivan, my bag. So good job there. And it's funny, it's a bit of a trend now. You got all the Bitcoin bros now talking about Tesla because everybody needs some exposure to that too. So winning assets are the most hated assets as well. Hope you all enjoy the show. I want to thank all the great moderators here as well in the chat. And everybody for coming. Piper, Bricks Mortar, Sol Bull, watching the Sol video, Zeno, and Joe Feinsdaker, and Bitcoin Broccoli, and CERN again, and the mods in chat, Sean D, T&D, K8, and everybody else. Sorry for being a little bit late today. It was a bit of a trading day as well. And let's check the real-time price of Solana. 168.24, up $4.10 today, 2.5 cents. And Bitcoin, what's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin 115,160. Looks like that's creeping back too, which is great. Thanks all for coming. Have a great night. Bye. See you tomorrow.